that it comes and it goes. And if we're lucky in our life, we remember that as well. And on our cushion, we open fully to the experience. We open, we feel, we let go, and we let the experience, we let the stress take its natural course. And the other thing we do is we don't over-identify with it. We try hard not to make it about us, We let that visiting stress be a visitor and go. So when we're practicing patience, are we saying, be patient, be patient, be patient, it will end soon? Or are we engaged in the process enough that we're cultivating a capacity to simply abide, to simply be with the stress as it's unfolding? I think this abiding is what allows us to cultivate a patience of spirit. In truth, this is where practicing with patience, with stress, translates into practicing the ability to abide and cultivating a patience of spirit. So this might be also the erech apayim, long-suffering, the erech apayim, the divine attribute, the divine quality of patience. And Sylvia says about it is, patience is more, as you know, I love Sylvia, so I love to quote her. She's been an incredible teacher for me about most everything, including patience. Patience is more the quiet moment-to-moment adjustment to unpleasant circumstances, done in the knowledge that they cannot be other, right? The adjustment to the circumstances, the letting go piece, the piece of acceptance is knowing that the situation can't be any other way. Really letting that in. And that letting it in is really an expression of wisdom. It's an expression of understanding that we don't really have ultimate control. We can't control all the things that are unfolding around us. In fact, we're just a part of that unfolding. And we can be a part of that unfolding with a patience of spirit if we let go. So, the question becomes, like those people in Oklahoma, were they simply being patient until their electricity went back on? Or were they opening up to the fact that we live in a world where Katrinas happen, tsunamis happen, all sorts of things happen that we can't control. And that's sort of a truth about life. That's the larger opportunity in that practice. And I don't know, with assassinations, with Bhutto's assassination, opening up to the fact that we live in a world where some people are so demoralized and so lost that hate is their only response. And that those things are not personal to us. That hurricane didn't happen to hurt that person who lives in Oklahoma, or the ice storm, or Katrina didn't happen to us personally, or that the hate isn't even really so personal. It gets directed personally, but it's hate. And with children, for me, the journey is about, can I really open to the fact that my son has a different journey than I might have imagined? And that's his path. And can I abide in that truth? I have enough time that I have to put on my sweater, I'm cold. So Rabbi Wein, I think this is part of the self-acceptance. He says, oh no, that's not what I wanted to read. Rabbi Wein goes on to say that Erech Chappayim is the patience that we have to learn. And he says that it's a divine attribute and that we should be inspired to emulate it. And the place that he chooses is the Yom Kippur liturgy, where God says that God will wait for us till the end of our days for our improvements and repentance. So I think that's nice, but there's still a change being asked of there. There's still repentance. We're still looking for, maybe that's the paradox of this practice. We sit and we abide, and when it's painful, we'd like it to change, perhaps. I don't know if, I think you can notice that desire for change and not get hooked by it and still be able to be present. So, as you can tell, I'm still tripped up on Erech Chappayim and God. But I'm not tripped up on the model who I did find biblically, who I think embodies patience. And it was an interesting thing how I came up with that, because I was conscious of the fact that we were doing Torah study, and as a feminist theologian and somebody who has a feminist perspective, who's been asked at different occasions to bring that to this venue, particularly by one retreat, the last retreat, I sort of felt like, okay, what am I going to do? So, and it was interesting, right? Actually, somebody else is here. The last time we studied this, I brought some feminist texts to the table, and it was interesting what kind of responses people had. But I was thinking about so Jeff, as I told you, he's my buddy, he helps me do this. So I was telling him what I was doing. He's going to say, well, but tell them how you get to be patient. You got to give them real examples. So I thought, okay, so how do you do it? Right? I had this experience and I practice a lot. So I was thinking that there are three things that really build this patience of spirit. And those three things are, one of those three things is strength, gevura. And another word for that, which I learned from Norman, who's also an incredible inspiration for me, is persistence. The ability to return over and over again, which takes a lot of strength. And as we do it more, we develop the capacity more. And so I said to Jeff, I was telling him these three things, I've only told you one, and he said, well, the archetype for in Ushpizin, right? It's Ushpizin. Is it more than Ushpizin? Who stands for, it must be, Chana, the model of Chana. Chana stands for Gevura, right? The Chana and Yitzchak? Right, and is that used more than Sukkot for something, or is that just for Sukkot?
The seven shepherds is talked about lots of places.
But not the women.
That's a Jewish renewal addition to that process.
So here you have it. So I'm Chana and he's Yitzchak, right? So we have a relationship to these two. And
two real types.
Two will types. I'm also Chana and Leah, so I have something else in there. And you do too. Anyway, so I love Chana. I've always loved Chana. She's been a very important figure in my growing up. I'm named for both my paternal great-grandmothers, Chana and Leah, and I grew up very, very identified with that. And I lived in Israel, so I was called Chana for a long time, and I loved her as a biblical model. And she really embodies these three qualities. Now again, you have to remember this is Torah study, so when we study sacred texts, the text jumps out at you. It's not, there are many other things about Chana as well, right? So, but I do think for my purposes here,